Hi, I'm Madison and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about TikTok and the publishing industry and books. So for anyone who is new to my channel or just doesn't know me too well, I have been on BookTube since 2018 and I have been on BookTok since January of this year. If you do want to check me out, I'll link myself down in the bio. But I have also been working at a publishing house for the last couple of months as well. I work in social media and marketing strategy within a YA imprint, and I also do some work across romances and just everything in general as well. So I have some insights, some really cool things that I thought some people would just be interested in hearing about. I mean, everyone hears about TikTok. I think that there's been a huge shift recently in how publishers are reaching out to influencers, the kind of platforms that they're looking at, and kind of just the impact that TikTok has had on the publishing industry and books in general. And I kind of just wanted to talk about it with you guys and just kind of give you guys some information, because I feel like there are a lot of people out there who are like, I mean, my dad, for example, was like, okay, but does TikTok actually sell stuff? He's like, no one clicks on links, no one like directly buys from the app. And I'm like, no, they don't, but books still sell via TikTok. We saw last year makeup sells via TikTok, so do books. And I have proof. I have numbers I can tell you guys about. There is this website called NPD BookScan, and BookScan is something that you have access to as an industry professional when you're in the publishing industry, or if you buy a certain subscription to it. And so I'm going to be telling you about the numbers that are on there. Those are the numbers that are given from how many books are sold, print books are sold. When it comes to indie authors, it's a bit harder to tell what their sales numbers are because it doesn't tell you the Kindle Unlimited downloads, or it doesn't always give you all the ebook numbers for their books. And also it doesn't always give you the print book numbers for theirs if they use, or depending on what kind of printing services they use. I'm gonna talk to you guys about this really quickly. So I think what's really interesting is, yes, BookTok does sell books. Now, I think there's a lot of discourse, people are like, how does that happen? Because, you know, we've never seen books completely pick off here on YouTube. Why is that? And that's because of the virality that comes from TikTok. When it comes to YouTube, people sit down, you have like your set number of subscribers, you have people who are your followers. When you look at your views and your analytics on YouTube, a majority of the views that you do get for all of your videos do tend to come from the people who are following you. And that is not necessarily that's just not how it works on TikTok. TikTok is based off of a viral content, and it's based off of the For You page. It's based off people who aren't necessarily following you watching your content. And it's also, if you look at the scale, you have people who have YouTube videos that get like 50,000 views, give or take, or people have YouTube videos that get 10K views, 5K views. The views are much shorter. When it comes to TikTok, it's those videos that are getting 500K views, 300K views, 1 million views, 3 million views. Those are the viral ones that are making the impact within the book industry. Those are the ones that are converting to sales numbers. Now, the smaller amount of videos, I mean, I've done some experiments with our own publishing house, and we've seen that, you know, when a video did get, say, 30K views, we did see a slight increase that day in Amazon glance views. There is a way on Amazon where you can actually see day to day how many people check out your Amazon page, how many people went there, how many people bought the book from it, and kind of those kind of things, and how many pre-orders you're getting. So you can see direct correlations between when a video goes viral and the Amazon glance views that come from that. It's a really interesting way to go against it. Another way that you can look at it is through BookScan, and BookScan only updates once a week. It updates every Thursday from the previous week, so whatever the sales numbers were then, which is nice, but also I'm very impatient. Every day it's Thursday, I'm like, why isn't BookScan updating yet? It's always me. So that accounts for all the mass markets, it accounts for Barnes & Noble numbers go in there, it's all that kind of stuff. So one, I think, obviously I'm going to talk, I have numbers here, just so I can't remember numbers off the top of my head, but one thing I'm going to talk about, for example, is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Now, I think it's going to shock a lot of people to know that exactly a year ago, back in December of 2020, Colleen Hoover for It Ends With Us was selling 1,600 copies of her book a week on average, which, by the way, is an amazing number, okay? However, as of this week, she's currently selling 21,000 copies of her book a week. It Ends With Us is selling 21,000 print editions a week. I'm sorry, is that not nuts? This book is selling like hotcakes, and that's because Colleen Hoover is one of those authors like Penelope Douglas who BookTok blew up. They were already popular beforehand, but with the help of BookTok, they have soared to new lengths. It is crazy. That just goes to show you that as an author and as a book goes viral, and when it continues its virality, when it's continuously talked about, because It Ends With Us has been mentioned over the last 12 months, and it still gets mentioned with so much frequency. It is just a book that is a staple on BookTok, and because of that, everyone is buying it. People are buying it for friends, family. It's just how it is. Other books that also experienced this kind of sensation where they were selling average numbers for a couple of years, and then suddenly with BookTok, they have blown out of proportion and have stayed at those high proportions, such as like They Both Die at the End, The Song of Achilles are two main ones that I can think of right now off the top of my head, are some that are very similar to how that works. And what we've seen with BookTok is that when a book goes viral and when it goes consistently viral for a long period of time, the increase in sales that we see, the bump in sales from that virality, tends to stay. It might dip a little bit, but it does lead to consistently increased sales. Now, virality doesn't always last. I'm going to be talking about some different BookTokers in this video. For example, Ava, who I'm going to put a screenshot of here, did a viral TikTok a couple months ago for The Silent Waters, and this got 400k views. Right after this happened, it bumped up on the Kindle list. It was like #1 in the store, had the orange banner. Everyone was downloading it. Now, this was a Kindle Unlimited book, which has a totally different kind of aspect of how BookTok works. Kindle Unlimited books are a totally different thing because they do really well when going viral, because what happens is people will see a viral video, they'll be interested in the book, and they'll directly go there and they'll just download it. If you already have KU, you're not spending any extra money. You're just downloading the book to read it, and that's how it grows so quickly on those charts. Now, is it still at those levels today? No, because it was just that one video, but it did pop off and it did still make those amazing views for that period of time, and it's still probably going to be something that people do see. Kindle Unlimited is really interesting because authors get paid by how many pages a person reads in the KU book. So when you download a book from KU, the author doesn't get paid or anything. It's as you're reading that book and as you're reading each page that the author then starts to make the money. So say you start at a KU book and halfway through and go, meh, nah, the author gets paid for half the book, which is quite interesting. I would be interested to see how much KU authors actually make. It's not something that I am privy to, but KU authors definitely have a greater chance of virality on TikTok because of how simple it is to simply go and download and buy the book that way, rather than people having to go out and spend money. That being said, people don't mind going out to spend money. How do we know that? By some of these other books. Now, one BookToker I would really love to point out for this is Pauline from the Books I've Loved. Now, Pauline is an amazing person. I know her a little bit, not too well, but she is such a sweetheart, and she reads a lot of romance books. She also reads YA fantasy, but she's definitely more heavily into romance books as she's spent more time on BookTok, which I think happens to a lot of us. I will say that I'm also in the same vein of that, where I was reading a lot more YA fantasy before I kind of transitioned to more heavily doing my BookTok stuff, and now I do read a lot more romances, which I have no problems with. I absolutely love my romance books. But Pauline is someone who is a really great way to see how when a video goes viral, it directly translates to sales. She is someone who is absolutely phenomenal at this. Now, there are a couple books I could point out to with this, but the one I'm going to work on is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. Now, Christina Lauren is an author who I own a lot of books from but have not read, but that's a different point. She was raving about this book back in October. On the 8th and 9th, she was posting videos. They got 120k views, 1 million views, 314k views, and 140k views. Really huge views for 4 consistent videos during a short time span that everyone was seeing. And you want to know what happened? Before her videos, Love in Other Words was selling on average 600 copies a week for months. However, after these videos, the week after on BookScan, that number jumped to 2.5 thousand copies a week. It more than doubled in the amount of copies sold, and it has consistently stayed at a higher level. Over the last couple of weeks, it has stayed at selling over 1,500 copies a week since the beginning. So it has consistently doubled ever since her videos. That is the impact that virality had on these books and on it being sold. Now, similarly, I do want to actually talk about an indie author, and that is Lauren Asher. I feel like Lauren Asher always pops up on my For You page. She's an indie author, indie romance author, and she has a special edition of her book, and that special edition of her book called Fine Print, you can track on BookScan, which is very nice because I can tell you, so Lauren Asher had 3 TikToks of hers go viral during the month of October on the 27th and 20th. And before the videos went viral, she was selling on average 300 copies a week. Now she's averaging around about 800 copies a week. So she has managed to double the amount of which she has been able to sell her books, which is awesome for an indie romance author. And it just goes to show you that when you have these virality things go on, you are being able to sell these books. I will also say that what we have seen on BookTok is an increase in the discrete cover, which is really interesting because it's a term that BookTok really created. And a part of that does come from the fact that TikTok doesn't really love naked men on the cover of books. Sometimes it does flag that as a bit inappropriateness, which is, in my opinion, stupid. But now we are seeing more discreet covers, and people love those discreet covers. People love buying them. And I think it's really cool that a lot of these indie romance authors have their original editions of their books and then have a discreet version, because it's just a really fun idea. And I personally know that as a collector myself, I love owning multiple editions of books. I mean, hell, I got my Elle Kennedy series here. I have the abs editions and the regular editions. If they came out with discreet editions, I would buy those as well. I have no shame. So that is an example for an indie romance author. Then I want to talk about some examples of books that, because of their virality at a time, hit the bestseller list. So there's going to be YA books. So you've got ɪṛsᴛᴏ. Now ɪṛsᴛᴏ came out very recently. We only have first week sales. And its first week, it reached number 2 on the New York Times bestseller list, which is amazing. And it also sold 5,794 copies in its first week. On the day of publication and the day before and the days after, Pauline from the Books I've Loved made 2 TikTok videos. One got 2 million views, the other got 3 million views. Calvin from Calvin Reads Books made one that had 250k views. Eamon from Eamon's Books did 2 videos. One had 100k views, one had 423k views. So there are a lot of videos going around that, you know, we're talking about this book at the time of publication, so people were going out and buying that, and that showed within that first week sale. I'd be really curious to see kind of how this continues to go, but that's just another example of how it did end up selling books. I am not saying that you need to go viral on TikTok to sell a lot of copies of your books. You don't, but I'm saying that if you do, it does help. It is not something that necessarily every author has to get behind. Every author does not need to be on TikTok. There are other ways that you can promote your novel, other people you can do this with. You don't necessarily have to promote your own book. You can just be giving your books to people. You can just be sending your books to influencers and be like, hey, if you're interested, here's my book. If you like it, promote it. If you don't, okay. And then I think the last book I can really talk about that had huge viral sensation via TikTok, I would have to mention The Love Hypothesis, which we know, I feel like, you know, it was consistently on a lot of different platforms before its virality on TikTok, but then everyone was talking about it. Not only did it hit the bestseller list, it actually sold out, because there's supply chain issues at the moment in the publishing industry. Anyone who's not aware of that, it just means that at the moment it's very hard to get copies of books in. A lot of books are getting pushed back in their publication dates because it's hard to get the product into the United States. It's hard to get everything printed, and when things do sell out, it's hard to get new copies in. For example, I am a huge manga reader. At the moment, I'm pre-ordering all my mangas because I know that once those mangas do sell out, they're not going to come back in stock until the end of next year. Manga has, in my opinion, been the most hit when it comes to the publishing industry, but that's my own personal opinion. I don't have any actual facts for that one. And then also I want to say that as someone who has been on BookTube for many years and BookTok for a very short period of time, I have gotten a lot more opportunities through BookTok because so many different publishing houses, so many different authors, so many different media companies are seeing that the virality, the way that you're able to sell books via TikTok is so much larger than it is anywhere else, that they are now putting a lot of their money behind it. Now that is sad because I mean, I have had my YouTube channel for 3 years. I love my YouTube channel. I love being able to sit down and talk to people about my books. I love having more time to talk about my books because when I make videos on TikTok, they're very short. They're always under 30 seconds. Sometimes they're only most of the time they're under 15-second videos. I can't always get everything I want into those videos, whereas here I can do that. So a little bit sad, but you know, I am so grateful for all the opportunities that I have gotten via TikTok, all the different people I've been able to meet, all the different kind of companies that I have been able to work with, and just the authors that I have met via TikTok. I have made some really great connections via some authors, which has just been so irreplaceable that I would never give any of that up. But it is also a very finicky app. It is a very mentally draining app. I have talked to some of the TikTokers as well, and it's just an app where, you know, it gets to a point where you can very easily get creatively burnt out, way more so than you do anywhere else because of the consistency that you are making content at. So that is something else to put in there. Now, obviously I want to mention how Penelope Douglas has sold so many copies of their books via TikTok. You know, you've also seen that there are a lot of indie authors who have gotten book deals thanks to TikTok. You had the Atlas 6, which has sold over 40,000 copies since it came out. That was like the last time I checked that number was, I think, like a month or something ago, was at 40K. It has definitely exceeded that since now. But that was an indie author, did that one book, had so much traction, and now it's being published by Tor in hardcover, and it's going to be like a full series coming from them. And there have been other book deals. You know, you got Ice Planet Barbarians, which is now being done by Berkeley, which is by Ruby Dixon. There are just a lot of authors who have been getting different deals here and there thanks to the virality on TikTok, and TikTok now seeing how there are these indie authors that they're promoting, and now publishing houses are seeing the importance of these indie authors. I will say this has also definitely brought more attention to the new adult space, which I am so thankful for. New adult is a genre that I've always loved. It's a genre that I've always really promoted, and I'm actually finishing my graduate thesis up this semester, and then I'll be done with my master's program, but I'm getting a master's in publishing currently. And I had a professor who told me new adult doesn't exist, and new adult is never going to exist. New adult makes no sense, and basically was telling me that new adult is stupid. And you want to know what sells well on TikTok? New adult. New adult does. You got Elle Kennedy, my babe here, who has now got a collaboration with Bloom Books to do some of her books there, and she also has a book coming out from St. Martin's Press next year. She's she's like the best new adult author in my opinion. But I feel like new adult has just been getting a lot more recognition. This kind of idea of, okay, we have YA, but there are people who want a bit more steam, they want a bit more spice, they want a bit more older characters. They want to know where are those characters between the ages of 18 to 25? Where is that space? Where are they? Where are those struggling professionals who have just come out of college and don't know what they're doing with their life? Why are we missing that section within the publishing industry? And now there's kind of been a resurgence, and people are now finally starting to see that. I'm starting to see more and more books being published in that space, which is just phenomenal. And I'm so, so, so grateful for that. Yeah, I hope this was really interesting, because I feel like there are a lot of people who kind of see TikTok and are like, okay, but like, does it really do anything? And the answer is yes, it does. And it can have consistently amazing benefits to a lot of people if it works for them. Not every author is going to go viral. Not every book is going to go viral. Like I said, a book does not need to go viral to actually sell well. There are many authors that don't go viral that still sell well, but the authors that do go viral there are also guaranteed to have that kind of extra boost. So yeah, it's just been such an interesting process to kind of see the differences that these videos can have for different authors. And I don't know, like, I know when I make content, I'm always hoping it does well, but my biggest goal when I talk about these books on TikTok is I hope that they go viral, just because I want these authors to sell books. I'm doing it because I want to support these authors. They're not my books. I don't care about me. I care about promoting the books that I love, in the hope that these authors are able to sell more books, and the hope that people will see this book and be like, wow, that does sound awesome. I would love to read that. And that's just always been my goal. Yeah, I hope this was informative. If you do have any questions about this, please let me know. That's kind of it. If you guys did enjoy this video, please hit the like button down below. If you want to see more of me, please come to my channel. And until next time, thanks a bunch, everyone. Bye-bye.